Relax, close your eyes, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Namo Namaha.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang being a Sanskrit word that means basically spiritual community, literally community of truth. Wherever there are two or more people on the path of awakening and transformation who join together to share their journeys, to share their presence, to share their struggles, we have a satsang. And we strengthen each other exponentially when we come together this way. So what a beautiful use for the internet, because we're able to connect across oceans and national boundaries and continents. We come from different teachers, different teachings, different spiritual backgrounds and belief systems. What brings us together here is that we are all sharing the journey of awakening and the flowering of the heart. So, welcome. Glad you're here. This is an important time for humanity to shift from a global, insane culture of competition, conflict, and war into a new world order of harmony, cooperation, and peace. And that's going to happen one person at a time right now. But with each one of us whose hearts begin to flower as we awaken, it ripples out into the collective consciousness. And we believe that one day, when enough people have awakened, the collective consciousness itself will shift from this insanity I was talking about to a new earth of cooperation, harmony, and peace that can only happen not through philosophy or politics or religion, but through the awakening of the human heart in oneness with all that is. So that's what we're about. And to that end, we share through these webcasts something we call the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is a direct transmission of awakened divine consciousness and energy that catalyzes the process of awakening in the receiver. It dissolves blocks, removes impediments, and if you're already awakened, it will take you deeper, for awakening is not a destination, but an ongoing process of infinite expansion. So, if you're here, and I guess if you hear me saying this, you're here, join us in sending the blessing. When the Divine showed us this particular form of spiritual transmission, we were guided to give it away and to let people know that when you've received it once, you have been fully initiated and activated to be able to share it with others. You don't need to know what you're doing or how you're doing it. Just invite the Divine to pour the Flowering Heart Blessing through you to all who are joining us here tonight and all who will ever view this video recording in the future. This Sunday is our monthly interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ. It's interfaith. Everyone is welcome. We relish the opportunity to share the presence of the Cosmic Christ, which is the divine principle. The Christians believe incarnated through Jesus of Nazareth, but the Cosmic Christ is an aspect of God that has existed forever and will always exist. One way it's been described as the God within, the spark of divinity that resides at the heart of everything in creation and holds within it the blueprint for ongoing spiritual evolution and transformation. It's pure unconditional love and mercy, and more people have been experiencing Christ consciousness, people of all faiths and all walks. It's time for the human heart to flower in unconditional love and compassion. So people of many different paths are experiencing Christ consciousness. They may not relate to the Christian religion per se, but definitely to the divine presence that is sometimes referred to in India as the Paramatma, in many places the God within. We call it the Cosmic Christ or the Christ within. So if you're interested, you join us this coming Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And the subject this month is going to be receiving God's gifts of health, prosperity, and joy. We focus on many of the deep aspects of transformation and on the way to divine union. And I was almost surprised when the Divine said, to teach on health, prosperity,
and joy.
and joy. Joy, that elusive thing, yeah.
I got hot sauce on my face. It's making me sneeze.
So health, prosperity, and joy. And focusing on these being gifts offered from the divine and how we can open to receive them. So I think that will be very nice, and hope you can join us. If you can't join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the recording will be up on Vimeo, on Facebook Live, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. You can find it. And many of those venues, it just stays up forever. And on Facebook, it stays up for a month. So please partake. And if you missed last month's merging with God, the mystical path of awakening, I encourage you to go back and watch it. Anything else?
I think that's it.
I think that's it too.
Likes or loves?
Oh yeah. If you're on Facebook Live, give us a heart or a thumbs up or some other nice positive emoji so we can go in at the end and see your name that you were here and send you special blessings. If you're on Vimeo, please enter something in the chat, just your name, and say hi. I think that's it for now. We open it after this portion. Well, I'm going to share some quotes with you in a little article from inspiringquotes.com. But as soon as we finish that, we're going to take questions and answers on the spiritual journey. Anything you've been puzzling over would like more clarity, more light or understanding, anything you might be encountering, experiencing, or not experiencing, having to do with spirituality, if you will just put the question there in the chat, if you're on Vimeo or on Facebook Live, then it inspires, it catalyzes the discussion, and it always moves the divine to pour out inspiration that benefits all of us. So while you're listening, on the inside, what might be a question you could ask? I'm going to share an article from inspiringquotes.com and some quotes entitled "The Best Quotes on Embracing Vulnerability." I had 3 really good selections that were really hard to decide between. But this one reached out and grabbed me. So again, this is one of the authors that writes and publishes on Inspiring Quotes is Joyce Chen. Joyce is a writer, editor, and community builder based in Seattle, Washington. And here's what Joyce has to say about embracing vulnerability. In a society that so often values brawn and might, vulnerability may not seem like a positive trait to possess. It requires exposing ourselves to the possibility of hurt or humiliation. But as motivational speakers and life coaches and therapists have spent countless hours reminding us, vulnerability is in fact one of the keys to leading a meaningful life in which we are both in touch with our truest selves and open to the possibilities of change. It is the foundation of self-confidence and the launching point for growth and connection. Vulnerability is crucial in interpersonal relationships, whether they are professional, romantic, familial, or otherwise, in part because it lets the other person know that you too are fallible and human. Opening up and exposing our emotions is one of the only ways to build strong, genuine bonds with other people. Or, as American poet Theodore Rothke famously said, love is not love until love's vulnerable. On an individual level, this emotional honesty gives us permission to embrace our reality by admitting to our imperfections. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Author and researcher Brené Brown has said, "Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable." Here we've rounded up 12 quotes to encourage you to dig deep, shake off societal expectations, and risk being seen, understood, and loved for your authentic self. Here we go. What happens when two people open their hearts? They get better. Haruki Murakami, writer. It's very hard to have ideas. It's very hard to put yourself out there. It's very hard to be vulnerable. But those people who do that are the dreamers, the thinkers, and the creators. They are the magic people of the world. Amy Poehler. Let your heart crumble into an infinite amount of tiny, precious seeds. Then plant love everywhere you go. Anita Krizan, writer. There's no intensity of love or feeling that does not involve the risk of crippling hurt. It is a duty to take this risk, to love and feel without defense or reserve. William S. Burroughs. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they're never weakness. Brené Brown. When we were children, we used to think that when we were grown up, we would no longer be vulnerable. But to grow up is to accept vulnerability. To be alive is to be vulnerable. Madeleine L'Engle, author. Vulnerability is the only authentic state. Being vulnerable means being open for wounding, but also for pleasure. Being open to the wounds of life means also being open to the bounty and beauty. Don't mask or deny your vulnerability. It's your greatest asset. Stephen Russell, American actor. All trust involves vulnerability and risk. And nothing would count as trust if there were no possibility of betrayal. Robert C. Solomon, professor of philosophy. Love comes when manipulation stops. When you think more about the other person than about his or her reactions to you. When you dare to reveal yourself fully. When you dare to be vulnerable. Joyce Brothers, psychologist and advice columnist. We are called to be fruitful, not successful, not productive, not accomplished. Success comes from strength, stress, and human effort. Fruitfulness comes from vulnerability and the admission of our own weakness. Henry Nouwen, Dutch Catholic priest. True bravery is being exactly who you are, imperfections included. Vulnerability is the most precious gift you can give. Sarah Bareilles, musician. The vulnerability of precious things is beautiful because vulnerability is a mark of existence. The destruction of Troy, the fall of the petals from fruit trees in blossom, to know that what is most precious is not rooted in existence, that is beautiful. To know that which is most precious is not rooted in existence, that is beautiful. Okay. Alrighty. Ekaterina says, I'm working on it, but hi. And Julio says, Namaste, much love, light, and blessings from Lisa Lott and me.
Nice.
Love and blessings back to you. Well, I didn't come up with any questions tonight. So we'll just wait a few minutes before we launch on. I think the conversations that are stimulated around the questions are most interesting and dynamic every time. So it's not too late. Type your question or one of your questions. Make yourself vulnerable. It's quite a group for nobody to have anything to say. I can start naming names, but I won't. Well, Michael Christopher asks, how does God speak through dreams? Well, oftentimes God will use the symbolism, the metaphors in the dreams to speak to you. And if it's God speaking through the dream, it's pretty obvious. The best advice, which I've heard both from Carl Jung, the great psychologist, and from Peace Pilgrim, the great mystic, is that with ordinary dreams, just forget about them right away. Just let them go. With a great dream, you usually wake up out of them, and you know there's something significant. If you don't get it right away, put it on the back burner, let it simmer. Don't try to project meaning into it or dissect it. It will come to you. And the meaning may have already been carved in your heart. Often God will give us instructions we don't understand, don't even know that we received them, by writing them on the tables of our hearts. So God can speak through dreams, God can speak through fantasies, God can speak through the voices in our minds. But we know the best way to hear God is in silence, God's original language, where we wait in silence, receptive silence, in the presence of the divine, and just a knowing without words, without thoughts, dawns on our hearts in the silence. So I highly recommend that. When I first read the question, how does God speak through dreams, I was thinking, how does God speak at all? How would I know? But I know what you meant, I think. Biana writes, what does healthy vulnerability look like in marital relationships? Looks like us.
I think an important part is being able to admit our faults and our flaws and see ourselves when we're reacting instead of waiting and taking a minute to let the charge pass through, clear communication.
I know that I think in a good marital relationship, there are no secrets. And I can share with my partner my deepest vulnerability if I feel weak, or I feel triggered, or I feel inadequate, or I feel anything that would make me vulnerable to share. I can share that with my partner without fear of being put down or judged, or, oh, you know better than that, or blah, blah, blah. But a good partner holds space to listen to us pour out our hearts. And it's a great source of strength, because in an intimate marital relationship where there's vulnerability, where there's transparency and openness, many of the monsters of the unconscious can be vanquished easily. Just like in spiritual confession with our spiritual mentor, director, or with a good spiritual friend, when we share something that we're struggling with, wrestling with, and we share it with another person in the light, it immediately loses its power over us. It's been said, forget exactly how it's been put, but your greatest weakness or vulnerability in a not good way is what, your darkest secret? The secrets that you're keeping and holding inside. So, vulnerability in a marital relationship is receptivity to hold space and listen without judgment, and reflect unconditional love and the true, because marriage partners, if it's a good relationship, have sort of a peekaboo into the other's true self. That's why you love that person. You've connected with their true self. So when your partner exposes vulnerability, and maybe it isn't even confessed, maybe it's just they're acting like an idiot, and that's vulnerable. We reflect back to, we hold space without judgment, and we reflect back to them their truest and highest self. So it's like they're looking in the mirror of their true self, and instead of what many people would reflect to them, the lunacy, the idiocy that they're manifesting in that moment. Oh, you jerk, you know. But my lover responds to me, here's the real you. I see you.
I got some work to do.
Don't we all?
That was vulnerable.
Yeah. And Stacy says, namaste and thank you, Michael and Suzanne. Well, you're welcome. So, there's so much more I could say about vulnerability in marital relationships, because marital relationships are like nothing but vulnerability. It's sometimes it means taking the wound, being wounded emotionally, and not defending, not blaming, just accepting it and forgiving it without having to react in any way. Sort of like Jesus on the cross. His words from the cross, some of them, one of the things he said was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Or was that St. Stephen? Yeah, I think it was Stephen. But I mean, Christ was saying that. That was his whole thing, was interceding with God on the behalf of the people who were senselessly taking his life. So, let's see. Oh, Taz and I both appreciated that response. All right.
Nice.
Touché. The sword of love. two-edged sword. One side heals, the other side hurts. As my Taoist master said, use the power to help the people, not hurt the people, Michael. Help the people. And sometimes that's hard to do with our family members and intimate partners, because we not only feel vulnerable, sometimes we feel free to act out with that person our worst selves, because they're expected to hold space without judgment and forgive us and keep their vows and continue with us. And so I think that sometimes good people allow ourselves too much freedom to come from the reactive emotional part of us, the reactive mind, in a way that we would never do in a more public setting where we don't want people to see us that way. And heck, I live with this one. She's seen me in all kinds of circumstances, at my worst. So maybe I could feel free to be my most horrible self. And that's not the good part of vulnerability in a marital relationship, but it's something that happens a lot. And so we must never take advantage of the beauty of that. But, when I've really seen relationships get in trouble, and I'm talking about spiritual relationships, is when one partner, or both, instead of reflecting to their partner their true self to help them climb out of the hole they're in and remember their divinity, we could get so upset with our partner that we begin to reflect their faults, their shortcomings, their ego games. And I think you got the point. All right. Yeah, and it says, yeah, that's beautiful, and I've got some work to do too. Yeah. One of the downsides of vulnerability in a romantic or marital relationship is that we can become addicted to that person to be the reflection of our true self when we're screwing up. And it's like a codependency. And if they stop reflecting to you your true self, it's like everything crashes and burns. But also, we can be stuck in a kind of a holding pattern for many years where we're dependent on someone outside of ourselves to be clear about who we really are. Which is, I think, one of the reasons that some of those soulmate relationships don't happen, or they're made shipwreck, or circumstances separate those people, because we have to be self-realized within ourselves and not dependent on each other. Oh, please show me my best self because...
Tell me how great I am.
Well, that's...
Until I believe it.
Yeah, well, it isn't quite like that, but that's sort of a twisted application. But
well, it's another holding pattern, too.
So... Well, yeah, I mean, that's the narcissist, and I need you to just worship the ground I walk on and tell me how wonderful I am. But this is a more subtle thing that I was addressing, where we need the other to feel good about ourselves, because if we're alone, we can't see ourselves in the mirror if we're not evolved enough. And maybe we still have self-judgment and self-loathing and haven't learned to forgive ourselves and accept ourselves. And that other person was helping us feel like, well, I am okay. If she loves me, I must be cool, If he loves me, I must be cool. That kind of needs to be worked out within us as individuals so that we come to the relationship with something to give, not to milk the relationship. We could just go on for hours about this.
One of my intentions is to like, every day grow and deepen, and being vulnerable is a big part of that, because if we're not able to be honest with ourselves, it's hard to be honest with anybody else. And vulnerability is one way that we can grow the fastest, because we're open to our faults and our misgivings and our actions and reactions, and there's always an opportunity in each moment to grow deeper and become a more fully flowered human heart.
I think it was Alan Watts, another quote from another article, said something along the lines of, unless we're vulnerable to be hurt, we cannot be open to experience pleasure. It's that same openness and transparency. So the armor that we put up to not be vulnerable does not allow us to feel connection or pleasure. So, yep.
Great questions, thanks.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any others come at the moment. Let me check over here. Okay. Vimeo's clear. Well then, let's close our eyes and invoke the presence. Invoke, welcome the divine presence who dwells within you. I keep reading that each one of us is a drop of the ocean of God. And I always immediately remember Rumi, the great Sufi mystic poet, who said, "You are not a drop of the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop." The fullness of the divine presence dwells in you and in me and in everyone else all at the same time. Omnipotence, omniscience. This presence is all-knowing and all-powerful and all unconditional love. It loves you exactly as you are. It already knows everything you're going to do in the future. The divine knows every mistake we're going to make. Every time we stumble and fall, the divine already knows and loves us unconditionally all the same. The divine is drawing us like the sun at the center of the solar system. The celestial sun at the center of our being is exerting a gravitational pull on your soul, drawing you into oneness with itself. And that gravity is called love. All you need to do is let go. Let go of your efforts and the weights you carry. Let go of the earth for just a few minutes and open yourself to the divine love, drawing you into oneness with itself. When that connection is made, the light begins to shine like a star going supernova, shining out of the center of your being, flooding your spirit with illumination, flooding your soul with divine inspiration, dissolving wrong thinking, negative emotions, programming it, replacing it divinely inspired thoughts, ideas, and plans. It shines out into your physical body, dissolving dis-ease, filling you with divine health. Just receive. The divine already knows tonight exactly what you need. So just receive it and drink it in. Consent to the divine presence working in you, on you, through you. It will shine out into your relationships and heal them. It will shine through your life out into the outer world, touching countless lives with the grace of awakening. Imagine us sitting in a circle together. With our eyes closed, lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward, as we invite the divine presence to pour through all of us the flowering heart blessing. Just invite it, consent to it, and the rest is the work of the divine itself. As it pours through you to the others in the circle, it transforms you. And it's flowing back to you through all of that. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Do both. Imagine the planet Earth, the translucent blue planet, the living planet, the tiny blue speck in space in the middle of our circle. Let us take a strong intention that the divine will flow through our prayers and our intentions and our blessings to melt away fear from the human heart on earth. It is perfect, unconditional love that dissolves and melts away fear. May the divine flood every human heart on this planet and melt away the fear, and with it, the hatred. And fill every heart with true compassion and unconditional love. One love, one infinite being expressing itself through all of us and through each of us. Now you can relax your hands in your lap somewhere. Open Suzanne and or me, just keep gazing at least one of our eyes. And that's all you need to do. Just receive. During the light meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of love and light and grace. And it's pouring through every fiber of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. It streams out through our eyes, in through your eyes as you keep looking. It penetrates deep through your eyes into your heart of hearts, causing the light of awakening and the fires of divine love to burn brighter and brighter and brighter. find a place to lie down nearby in Shavasana. Shavasana is a yoga pose. I think it might be the one I like the best. You lie comfortably on your back and close your eyes, with your arms loosely at your sides, with your palms open, turned upward, and just dissolve in gratitude in the presence. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you, and we bow to you.
Namaste.
Namaste.